All right, I'm over here at the downdraft where we're going to route for back binding. This introduces a couple of interesting subjects. One is, well, why are we routing for binding and only routing for half the binding? Why wouldn't we route either neither side or both sides? And the reason is this. We're about to cut a dovetail in here, and on the soprano, the dovetail comes down very close to that end, so close that if you cut the dovetail and you route for your back binding, after you've cut the dovetail, then your little bearing will go into the dovetail and it will create a little curvy, squiggly problem here. So on the soprano, you really want to route for the back binding first. Well, why do it on this? Because we don't want to have to think about, uh-oh, this is a soprano, route for back binding before dovetail. We want to be in such a rhythm that we always do the same thing and don't have to think about what size it is, okay? Why not route for the top? And the reason is that when we go for our neck fit, at this point in time, I want the neck to be perfectly flush right up here so I can feel if that fit is correct. And if I've got a little routed channel right there, I can't do that. Okay, now a little bit about routing technique. Again, might seem obvious, but you know, in the beginning, I was just trying to route and not have chip out and choose the right router, I guess. And after that, you're trying to improve. And I found that after about 500 instruments, what I was really working on was my body geometry and routing smoothly. I don't want to ever have any ripple in that. You think, well, how can it ripple? You've got a bearing that's following the side, you've cleaned up the sides, you've got a base. Well, it can ripple because just a little bit of movement in that router and you're going to see it in some way, or at least I'm going to notice it. And so the way you get over that is your body geometry when you're routing. What I mean by that is when I start my router, I want to have my feet kind of shoulder width apart. I want to have my weight here. And while I'm routing, I don't want to be moving my feet at all. I don't want to move the body of this instrument. I want to twist with my big muscles down here because those are actually the ones that can carve perfect arcs. My little muscles here, here, here are all jiggly and they don't really have a reference point to cut arcs like that. All right, so that's the technique I'm going to use. I'm doing the back, so up here I've got all of my laminate trimmers, my routers are labeled. I've got back and back purfling, and I'm going to do those too. And I'll yell at you while I'm doing it. A lot of pressure by my left hand to hold that router base steady. Now advance into the instrument. Turning with my big muscles down below. As I come in and out and restart my routing channel, I want to be very careful to just come straight in with it. I'm going to route for purfling here in a second, but I just wanted to show you that when I was coming in with that, I started out here, the router bit is well away from the body, and I put a lot of pressure with my left hand. See, I can even hold it like that. And I did that so it came in cleanly. I don't want to see any wobble down there. And when I was done with a cut, I stopped and I cleanly exited. And you want to take a lot of care when doing that. Now, when Shar was routing, we talked about climb routing versus going downhill. So you could say, well, why didn't you do that here? Well, for one thing, I haven't ever found it necessary. I've never had chip out when going all the way around like that. But I've always got a question, like when I do things, when am I prone to do the most damage, or where is the biggest downside? There's no question that the best way to route is to always go downhill like Shar was doing. But if I did that here, I would, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different cuts I would have to make with that router. And that's 8 times 2, enter and leave, 16 times where I stand a chance of getting a wobble. Not worth it. So, it would be, if we experience chip out, but we don't. But that's why I routed the way I did, because I don't want to take 16 chances on every instrument. Oh, times 2, top and bottom, right? So 32 chances to mess something up. I would mess it up. So that's why I do it that way. All right, here we go with a Purfling. A Purfling channel is just a tiny channel that goes around for our decorative Purfling strip. And here there is one place, one time I got chip out right there, and you would think we'll go that direction, but for some reason going backwards seems to prevent it. A little different router here. This was a Makita, this is a Porter cable there, pluses and minuses. A little heavier, a little more stable, but more vibration. I don't know which one I like best. You saw I went much faster with that router than the other one. The speed with which you use any tool is often a function of how big a cut you're taking. That's true with saw blades, it's true with drill bits, and it's true with routers. So there, where I'm just doing this tiny channel for Purfling, you can go, pretty quickly. Anyway, that's it for that step.